What's up, basketball nerds? Welcome to From the Logo. What's up, Riley and Colton? How are you two today?
Doing good. Federal holiday. Everyone's home. No courtroom today. Let's keeping it low key.
I am excited. This is a massive week for the Blazers, your Portland Trailblazers.
For
My
Wizards
Portland
fans,
Trailblazers.
massive week.
Wizards fans had a sucky little trade there with Beal going to the Suns. But let's hope the Blazers don't make a sucky deal on our end, right?
About to post a poll From the Logo. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do it during the show. It's halfway written right now. Should Shaedon Sharpe be an automatic starter next year? I want to know what the fans think. Because I'm pretty set in my ways one way. But I don't know. What do the rest of the Blazers fans think? Should Shaedon Sharpe start automatically next year? Is he a backup still? Or does it depend on if we keep Simons, what the roster configuration is like? Which I think we'll know a lot more what it looks like on Thursday. Thursday, 5 o'clock NBA draft. We will be going live from the Logo Studios here in Oregon to watch and see with bated breath what happens. It's gonna be a hell of a day.
You know, it's not an exaggeration to say that from the time the Hornets are on the clock after the Spurs, because we know the Spurs are going to pick Victor, from the time the Hornets are on the clock until the Blazers, that is the biggest 10 minutes in recent franchise history for the Blazers franchise, because so many different things could happen. They could either trade for a star, they could keep the pick, and then Dame could want out. They could make another move and trade back or trade, anything could happen, and it really is a seismic.
They could trade Dame.
They could. They really could. You never know. But that's the thing. This is crazy time for the Blazers. This is unlike an offseason we've seen recently since really Dame's been on the team, in my opinion.
And like we've been saying over the last few weeks, so much of the decision making that's going to happen is going to be dependent on what other teams do. You know, with that number 2 pick, depending on which way they go, could completely influence whether we're looking at trying to pair someone with Damian Lillard or blowing the whole thing up and rebuilding around Scoot and Shaedon. You know, I mean, it's could be a completely different story. So it's not all, the ball is not all in our court, which is a weird feeling. But in any case, there's going to be big decisions to make. It's all going to happen Thursday. I'm looking forward to it.
So, with that being said, how much we are looking forward to it, what do you guys think is going to happen? You got any hot takes, any predictions you'd like to solidify here just a couple of days out?
I think that Miller's going to go number 2, and that's going to mean that the Blazers are going to take Scoot. I think that based on the workouts that have been happening over the last week and just kind of the general feeling in Charlotte, I think that that's the way that they're going to go. And we don't really have any choice in the matter. We have to take one of those 2 guys, whichever one's left, unless we want to make a, generational mistake. So I think we're going to end up taking Scoot, and that might mean the end of the Damian Lillard era potentially, which breaks my heart. But I think it's either going to be that, or we trade Scoot and try to and use him as a piece to try to pair someone else with Dame.
That was a Riley bomb, because Riley does not like rebuilding, for those fans out there watching. So I have to ask you, so you don't think there's going to be a trade at number 3 that we find? You think that we're going to make the pick at 23 or at 3? Sorry.
I think we'll make the pick at number 3, and I think it's going to be Scoot. And then I think maybe we spend the next week or so figuring out what Dame wants to do. Whether that means, trying to make a move or just staying put.
What do you think about pick 23? Do you think we're going to keep that? Do you think we're going to try and package that with Simons even after we make that move? Do you think we're going to send it to Chicago and try and unlock future picks, or what do you think is going to happen with 23?
I think it all depends on what happens at number 3 is the thing. It's we have a big split in the road here, and it's two completely different NBA teams, honestly. If we're pairing someone with Dame versus if we're rebuilding, it's two completely different futures. So yeah, I don't know. I think that if we are in more of a build mode, we probably go ahead and try to draft probably a big guy. Right now some of the mock drafts have us taking like Derek Lively from Duke, or someone like that. Someone with kind of high upside at the center position, because if we're moving on from Dame, we're moving on from Nurk. We should probably move on from Nurk either way, but it wouldn't make any sense to keep Nurk if we move on from Dame. So, yeah. But if we're trying to pair someone with Dame and move on, or and keep building around him, then yeah, we probably try to package that with Simons and every other asset we can get our hands on to just keep trying to put star power around him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
yeah, same here.
My prediction is kind of similar to yours. I do think I have a couple different options we could look at on the trade machine that I dialed up. We don't have to do that right now, but my prediction is the Blazers are going to gauge any kind of big name trade they can. That goes on down the line. I don't think Brown's on the market really. I thought maybe there was a time when he would be, but that includes Bridges, Siakam. There's a couple new names added to the pool that we haven't talked about, and it's kind of interesting. And I know what you guys are going to say to this already, but there's Brandon Ingram and Zion have also been thrown out as names on there. I already know what the buzz about Zion's going to be. So I think what's going to happen is the Blazers are going to look to find a trade, but the Hornets are actually going to shock everyone and take Scoot. I think that this has all been a smokescreen. They're going to take Scoot.
I agree.
The Blazers will be looking at Brandon Miller. And here's the thing. Once it's Brandon Miller, the trade value of that pick goes down, even though I think Brandon Miller is a great prospect and fits with what the Blazers need in a lot of ways, even with Dame staying. I think that the Blazers will end up having to draft Brandon Miller at pick 3. Pick 23, I actually think that there's a way that if you take Brandon Miller, you can maybe say, Dame, look, this is a wing you need. Then they would still try and package Simons with 23, or at least send 23 to Chicago and then open up future picks and then package Simons with those picks to try and get another veteran that will make Dame happy. Whether that's somebody like even like DeRozan. DeRozan could come in and start, and you could send them 23 and Simons, give Bulls a young guard, get your pick back and get DeRozan to make Dame happy. Not my favorite move. That's kind of my prediction of what we could see. And then we could have access to our future picks, get Miller, and also get Dame's buddy DeRozan.
It's funny because we're sort of a little bit flip-flopped, where what you just described is actually what I hope happens, but it's not my prediction. I really would love to see us draft Miller and keep Dame and give him the wing that he's needed for a long time, because watching Miller's like workouts and highlights, and I think he's ready. I mean, I know he's not going to come in as like a number 1 or a number 2 option. That's not going to happen. But I think that you pair him with someone like Damian Lillard and he could be ferocious in the league right away. So I hope that happens, and then I hope we make that move of packaging Nurkic and Simons and the number 23 pick in whatever configuration we need to get them help. I just worry that Dame's kind of has a foot out the door at this point.
He might.
Does seem like he's already started to give little subtle hints the last couple of weeks that he might have that foot out the door. I also think the Blazers will end up with Brandon Miller. I think, Scoot is he has so much value. And speaking of Zion and Brandon Ingram, the Pelicans want Scoot quite a bit. So I could see something potentially happening there, or Charlotte just ending up with Scoot. But either way, I kind of think he'll probably go number 2. And yeah, that leaves the Blazers, pretty much forced to take Brandon Miller. If they don't, it's going to be a mistake. And yeah, I think that might do enough to convince Dame to stay. I guess we'll see, but I think he'll probably be excited about having a wing. And then with that domino falling of the draft and Damian agreeing to stay, I think that you'll see a lot of the Blazers from last year on this team. This isn't what I want to happen, but I think I'm just so used to being a Blazers fan where they really do stand pat. They don't like to make big moves. And I kind of get the feeling that that'll happen this offseason. I don't really see them making any huge, like, blockbuster, getting another big star sort of trade. It might just be drafted Miller, keeping everyone else, giving it another go, and see where the chips fall, I guess. That's just, as a lifelong Blazers fan, that's what I see in my mind's eye when I see this offseason playing out. I hope they shock me, though, and make a big move. Even someone like DeRozan I would be excited about. But I don't know. I think they have, for some reason, there's some people in the front office, I think, that are pretty invested in Simons. I think and maybe some fans are too. They're going to want to see what he can do this season. His stock is the lowest it's been in a few years right now. And so maybe they hope that he'll kind of, raise that stock with some decent play to start next year. But I just don't think he fits in the roster configuration. I think you do need to move him to make this team work, but I'm just afraid they won't.
I think that Dame actually probably is kind of what Riley said, maybe a foot out the door in terms of being closer than he's ever been. And that not using the pick could trigger it to be like, okay, I'm done. But also, if it's Miller, you can maybe say, look, man, we're starting Cam Reddish at the 3 right now. Miller would come in. We wouldn't have to play a 3-guard lineup. You'd have a 6'9" forward who could shoot the ball and rebound, not something you haven't really had since you've been on the team. So you could maybe convince Dame to stay if it was Miller. If it's Scoot and you don't come up with a trade, if Scoot's sitting there, I don't think Dame stays. I don't see him wanting to stay with Scoot. Regardless of how good, they might be able to play, I don't see it happening. He's not going to want us to use the pick on a 6'3" guard that's a rookie. What do you guys say about taking a deep dive really quick into a couple trades we might see on draft day?
Do it.
Let's think.
Let's see him.
All right.
It better be better than what happened to Bradley Beal.
Okay. Yes, but
I'm already getting second-round picks.
All of the fans watching this, hear me when I say this. This is something that terrifies me. But think about it this way. If we're trading the number 3 pick, do we want it to be a guy that raises our ceiling to a first or second round exit, or a championship, like a potential championship contending team? This move would put us at a championship ceiling, in my opinion, and you could still maybe make more moves. Here it is. So this might even be a 4-team trade with Charlotte, but here's what I got. I haven't sold you. You just wait, because you're going to say no. A lot of people are going to say no. I will show you right now. Okay, so
yeah,
the name there's a lot of trade chatter about Zion right now. All right. I know what everybody's going to say. Blazers, injured big man. What are we doing? Here's what we're doing. We're adding a 22-year-old who, when he's on the floor, is an MVP, top 15 player in the league. You're pairing him with Dame. You're not giving up future assets. You're giving up pick 3, okay? What you're doing also from the Pelicans is you're getting Herb Jones, because you're saying, look, Zion is a massive risk. You're getting Scoot in this deal. Obviously, this deal's only if Scoot falls to the Blazers, not if Brandon Miller does. You're saying we need something at least that's not Zion, because this is a massive risk that the Blazers are taking on. And you guys, yes, Zion is good, but with the amount of games played, we need something else. So you're getting your lockdown perimeter defender, your point of attack defender. You still have Thibault. You keep Shaden. If Zion takes it seriously, he's 22 still, okay? He's going to wake up at some point, you hope, and if maybe a shock to the system of moving to Portland, he's rehabbed in Portland before. When he was on the Pelicans, he came to Portland for rehab. Just, put him with Dame and say, look, man, wake up. If he does, the Blazers have an MVP candidate forward that they've needed, and that is paired with Dame is an unstoppable duo. A Dame and Zion pick and roll is unguardable because you can't trap Dame because then you leave Zion running downhill. Breaking down the rest of the trade, the Magic get Simons for the 11th pick. They have the 6th pick still. So they get to keep the 6th pick. They need a lead guard that can shoot. Their whole roster, and Anthony is from Orlando. I think it's a match perfect for them. It's not that high of a cost. They get to keep their 6th pick. Pelicans, they are rumored to be really, really high on Scoot. Really high. They want to pair him with Brandon Ingram. I know they trade away Herb Jones, and a lot of Pelicans fans are like, no, that's too much. Well, you're getting another lottery pick as well. So you're getting Scoot and a lottery pick. Nasir Little is a young good wing prospect for you. You're getting Bol as like the shot in the dark, and Gary Harris is there to kind of salary, but also he's a good player. He's a good 3-and-D player that you can use right now. I think it's kind of fair for every team, but you know what I'm going to say. The major risk is there. If it doesn't work, it sucks. But you want to take a shot with Dame, right? This is taking a home run swing with Dame, not a bunt. What do you guys think? Tear me apart. Go ahead.
No, I like it. I think this is one of the best trades you've put together. I think it makes sense for all three teams. I think it's pretty balanced, pretty fair. And yeah, it's the type of player that I would really consider trading the number 3 pick for, a guy who's, has MVP potential. So I would, if we're keeping Dame, I would probably do it.
I would do it as the all-in move, just to try to win a championship with Dame. I have reservations. I have concerns. You mentioned that a Dame Zion pick and roll is unstoppable, but the one way I can think of to stop it is to have Zion sitting on the bench for 65 games.
You're right.
That's the concern. And his mentality has also been concerning. He's rumored to have zero relationship with the Pelicans organization and next to no relationship with his teammates, which is not really what you want to hear about someone who's supposed to be a star player. Maybe it's what we want to hear because it means he's not going to be that hard to get out of there. But he does have some concerns. It would take a big mindset shift for him to come to Portland and be a championship big man. But I'd do it for Dame. I'd do it for him because I want him to win a championship here. And something like this is the only way it could even maybe happen.
All the other names on there. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, wasn't there like something that happened when CJ went to New Orleans where he said that Zion like didn't even talk to him for like the first month he was there or something?
Yeah. So yeah,
he's a bizarre dude for sure, but
hear me out,
talented.
He's got a lot of stuff going on off the court right now. There's potential stuff with like
Mariah
women. Yes. I won't say the other name, right? So he's 22, okay? He's 22. He's not a full-grown adult really yet. I think a shock to his system, moving across the country, comes in, he meets with Dame. Dame says, dude, you need to be here on this. If Dame can't get him on board, nobody can, okay? I think it's a high risk, high reward. Obviously, the highest risk, but also the highest reward. He has a weight clause in his contract. If he balloons overweight, some of his contract is not guaranteed. So that's part of it. The injuries are just another part of it, but maybe this is what wakes him up, gets him taking care of his body. If it does, you have Shaden, Herb, Zion are all like low 20s age-wise. and you still have Dame, Jeremy, you know, like you got a young core that's like star and you can compete right now. It's like if it works, and yes, it's a massive if. This is the home run swing I would take. I don't think a Siakam gets you to a championship contender. I don't think a Bridges does, but a Zion and healthy does. So massive risk, massive reward.
The
Good
one thing
you guys would do it.
One last thing I'll say on this. I do like the trade. I think it's fair, but I get your point that I think Pelicans fans would balk at adding Jones to this pair. You know, I think they're probably okay with losing Zion at this point just because of all the drama and stuff surrounding him. But to also lose Herb Jones, I think he's, you know, probably a fan favorite there. So
totally. You're right, but I mean, so it's a massive risk. That's why they got a second lottery pick. Like, yes, I get it. And they probably would, and they'd be like, no way. But that's why the other lottery pick is there. And, you know, maybe if you have to, you say, okay, give me Dyson Daniels instead. The rookie they just drafted last year that the Blazers were rumored to like as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a downgrade as far as like help now, ready to win now. But at least it gives you another young guy, another young wing that would have high potential for the Blazers. And it wouldn't just be relying on Zion. I don't think that just Zion can come. We need to have some kind of risk negation in some way with the form of another player. They're not going to give up Trey Murphy. So maybe you could sneak Herb Jones out of there. And if you say, dude, the guy hasn't played very much for you. So
well, and
that's my thought on that.
We're giving up a lot in this scenario too. I mean, we're not only giving up Scoot, but also Anthony and Nasir. I mean, those, you know, just Scoot and Anthony. I mean, you got to get more than just Zion back for that. So yeah, we do need to get a wing as well, because even if it's not a star wing, someone's got to play the position, and I don't think Thibel's going to be good enough. So we have to get something there, and yeah, whether it's Herb Jones or someone else, but yeah, we're giving up a lot, so we got to get something back.
Herb and Thibel, you'd have like one of the top couple like on ball defenders in Herb, and like the best off ball defender in Thibel. Like that'd be a dominant pair. So we'll see. Herb is about to get a raise coming up too, so that could play a part into it. Pelicans are kind of tax heavy, top heavy, thanks to CJ. Okay, so that's the all in swing. The other trade I have for you guys, it's going to be funny to Kirby. I already know why. Kirby, you probably know why. But
Ben Simmons, give it to us.
Yes, this is when we make the pick and Dame is mad and he says, okay, trade me to Miami or Brooklyn. Miami has crap. Brooklyn doesn't have woohoo, awesome, happy times for the Blazers as far as a trade package, but there's stuff there for the Blazers. So this is the Dame's pissed trade, okay? So here's what we got.
Hey, Joe Harris.
The Nets are getting Dame and Nurk because Nurk's Dame's buddy. Nurk wants to play with Dame. Bridges and Dame have been hanging out this offseason. They've posted Instagram live videos of them getting drunk and hanging out. I'm sure they've even talked about this. Like, should we pair up in either place? I would much rather trade him to the Nets. So here we go. Joe Harris, they're getting off Joe Harris. Joe Harris has not performed well in the playoffs at all. He's kind of just been a negative for them. He's had a big contract. It's only 1 year left, but they get off of it so they can go pick up other role player pieces. If they want to keep Joe Harris, I think it still works without Joe Harris, but if they want to get rid of him, they get to. Ben Simmons, we've already gone over it. I don't like him, but he's a salary that matches Dame's. If we're going to be tanking or not tanking, but rebuilding, taking him on doesn't hurt me as much just because it still sucks because you're trading one of the best shooters in NBA history for one of the worst, just for that. But now you get into the goodness of it. And you talked about Claxton, Kirby. Imagine this for me, guys. If it's Brandon Miller at pick 3, you've got Ant, Shaden, Miller, Claxton. You're just looking for a 4 at that point already with your young, promising players. And
do you let Jeremy walk in that scenario?
Yeah, Jeremy's gone if Dame's gone, tanking. So
makes sense.
But okay, so you just slot in Watford for now, or whatever you can do for now. here's the picks. Okay, so you got the 21st pick coming in. That's not the best, but we know what Phoenix just did trading for Beal. Okay, they're one injury away from playing you and me off the bench. They're one injury away. In 28, 27, and 29, those picks, Kevin Durant's going to be like 40. Bradley Beal's had injury issues, and he's going to be like 35. They have no depth. Their salary cap situation is bad. Those picks could be really good now. They keep gutting their depth more and more and more with every move they're making. I'm just saying they'll have ring chasers, but those picks could be good. They're a lot better than expecting Miami to be bad, because Miami is the alternative. Miami hasn't picked in the top 10 in 15 years since 2008. Michael Beasley. Since Spoelstra has been the coach, they have not picked in the top 10, and they've rebuilt, after LeBron and stuff. I do not want to rely on the Heat to be bad. This is the Dame trade. What do you guys think?
Riley, you can go ahead.
I mean, there's no winning here. It sucks. Losing Dame, and if he is forcing our hand to go to either Brooklyn or Miami, it's a lose. It's like the worst case scenario, honestly. Neither of those teams have anything I'm excited about. Neither of those teams can give us the pieces to actually build a contender team. And I mean, that's trash. That's one of the things that's seriously wrong with the NBA right now, is that with these no trade clauses, you end up losing your star player and you don't get to rebuild. It sucks. I don't really see this being a way for us to rebuild a team that's going to be a contender. I don't know what's going to happen with Phoenix. I don't really think that they're going to be that great, but they're probably going to be a middle of the pack team for a long time. Yeah, maybe we strike it lucky on some, 14th pick or whatever, but there's no good. I can't say like I wouldn't do it, because we might not have an option, right? So, I mean, yeah, it's a bad situation.
Yeah, it's brutal. The two teams that he wants to go to, it's like really worst case scenario for the Blazers and trying to rebuild two teams that just don't have a lot of assets to send back. You hope that a third team can get involved somewhere, and maybe you can get another young prospect or a better pick package from like a Houston or an OKC or someone like that has some of those more interesting assets. But it's going to be pretty hard to get equal value back. I don't really know if you can. And I do worry a little bit that after the Beal trade, that may have kind of lowered Lillard's value a little bit, just for how cheap, even though they did give up, some of their depth, the Suns did. They didn't give up a lot in, young assets or anything like that for a franchise superstar player. And I hope that doesn't skew the market, for Dame to the point where we're not even able to get 4 picks for him. We're only able to, the Blazers are only able to get a couple with Ben Simmons and a young guy. So it is a tough scenario, but if he wants out, I don't really know what else there is to do. It pretty much forces the Blazers' hand, and you got to send him to one of the places he wants to go to, probably.
Yeah, so here's why I don't think that the Beal move really is as bad for the Blazers as, what it could be. Beal actually had a physical no trade clause, which the Wizards are morons for giving him that. He did nothing to earn that. And his contract, he's making like 50 mil. Dame's making what? 45.6 right now. So Beal is a worse player than Dame. Actually had a physical no trade clause. So he was between Miami, which everybody wants to go to Miami. Another reason why I don't want Miami first round picks. He was choosing between Miami and Phoenix, and then he's like, nope, I just want to go to Phoenix. The Wizards are like ripping the Band-Aid off, just trying to get out of his contract. That's why they couldn't take anything back. But he could say, nope, I only want to go to Phoenix. You have to trade me there. With Dame, we could be like, dude, we could literally trade you wherever you want. We wouldn't, because we would do right by Dame. Okay. but I don't think it's going to impact his value to where he's not getting what he should, because the Blazers are going to value him highly and say, if you want Dame to pair with Bridges or Bam or whatever you want, you're going to have to give us picks because we need picks. At least the Nets have picks, Phoenix picks. And Nick Claxton, Kirby, you brought him up before. He was like 5th in defensive player of the year voting, I think. He's good. He's like a good young defensive center, and he's 23. He fits with the young Blazers core. I think he's a great young prospect. The picks might be good, they might be bad, but I think this is as solid return as you could hope for between Miami and Brooklyn. Miami is like a wasteland. I do not. You'd get Hero. You'd have to flip Tyler Hero for more picks, and it's like, okay, this is just getting ridiculous how many guards we would have. So
can we squeeze Duncan Robinson out of there too?
He would probably have to for salary or Lowry.
If we trade Damian Lillard for Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, I'm throwing in the towel, you guys.
Well, it could happen. You better be ready.
I thought of that yesterday. I think I need to say this on the podcast. If the Blazers, or I was going to text it to you guys. That's what it was. I was going to be like, if the Blazers trade Damian Lillard for Tyler Hero, I'm calling it quits on my basketball career, my basketball analyst career. That would be so ridiculous.
Okay.
That would hurt too bad.
Flipped. He would be flipped for picks. I bet you he would go to Orlando. Maybe we could get like the 11th pick that way. That would be not bad, getting a lottery pick, but you're right. I mean, the Heat have maybe one young prospect. His name is Nikola. I think it's like Nikola Jovic. Yes. He's actually solid from what I've seen. Like, he's a solid young prospect, nothing like Claxton. And the Heat, like I said, they don't ever rebuild or bottom out. They've only picked in the lottery a couple times in the last 15 years since Spoelstra's been the coach. I would just be like, dude, Dame, we're trading you to Brooklyn. But you can use like Miami and Brooklyn as leverage to try and say, hey, we want Claxton, or else we're trading him to Miami, but just don't trade him to Miami. That's it. And if that's
we're gonna get Strus, you need to get something that matches Strus, Brooklyn. Come on.
Caleb Martin. Okay, so this is the thing. I don't want this to happen, but be realistic, guys. Dame could be getting traded if we keep the pick. You better hope it's Brooklyn, but if it's Miami, you're gonna have to hope we flip Hero to get a lottery pick. I don't know. That's it.
Thursday's gonna be a crazy day for us Blazers fans. I can already foresee how it's gonna feel sitting there with bated breath, my heart aflutter as I watch the future of the Blazers get broken down. It's gonna be exciting though.
Yeah, it is. It's an exciting time to be a Blazer fan, and some of it is nerves because things could go terribly, terribly awry. But either way, we're probably about to break out of this kind of middling, first round exit.
Yeah, hope.
Trying to decide whether to tank or not. If we don't tank, we can go out in the first round. If we do tank, we can get a, top 10 pick. I'm ready to move on from that at least.
So
it's gonna be so frustrating if they do just keep the team. Just a starting lineup: Yusuf Nurkic, Jeremy Grant, the third pick, Anthony Simons, and Damian Lillard with Shaden and Trendon Watford and Thibault off the bench. It's like, what are we doing? We've seen this movie too many times.
I don't think that's gonna happen. If the lineup is the exact same and we keep the pick, I don't think Dame stays. This is why we're even able to have these discussions is because we did such a masterful tank. It sucked when it happened, and I know we hated watching them lose, but this is why I was saying it was important to not win a single game. The Magic, who we passed them by as far as tanking goes, and they're sitting there at pick 6. Imagine if the Blazers were at pick 7 like last year, rather than pick 3. At least at pick 3, it puts you in the conversation of some of these names like Zion or, even Siakam or Jaylen Brown. At least we're in the conversation and we can be like, well, it's possible if something breaks the right way. Because if we would have won like 1 or 2 more games, we'd probably be at like the 5th pick or later. So,
and if we didn't send Brandon Roy there to be the good luck charm. He helped us out big time.
Love B-Roy.
Yeah, the
These
number
boys.
3 pick's a big
Hey.
deal. It's a big deal, and
That's a
either
good
way,
point.
we're in the conversation.
That's a good point. We drafted a star recently that wasn't that athletic named Brandon. What if it happens again?
Brandon Williams, is that what you're talking about?
Brandon Williams. Oh,
All
don't
right,
say
guys.
that.
Be sure to tune in on Thursday at 5 o'clock. We'll be going live to watch the draft. You guys can watch with us. Comment your thoughts, comment and tell us how wrong we were when stuff really starts to pop off. It's going to be crazy. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you Thursday.